I just want to say welcome to everyone. We are ready to do, are you ready for this, Andora? This is our fourth podcast already.
Wow.
Since I kind of narrowed it down to working with midlife women and helping you actually redesign your life before you have to burn everything down. Because I don't know about you, but I've reinvented myself so many times. I know we all have. But I especially, as I see, it seems like, and I just had this on a podcast. Michelle Cook interviewed me the other day, and it just kind of came out in the conversation that I seem to live my life in segments of 20 years. like
Oh,
the like the first 20 years, you're trying to find yourself, and then the next 20 years, I worked, from age 20 to age 40, I worked like my hair was on fire, minimum wage jobs, trying to pay the bills and make a go of it. And then from 40 to 60, it's like I kind of figured some things out and started building some passive income. And then at 60, I retired early. I thought I wasn't going to get to retire at all back in the day, but I ended up retiring early. And for those of you on this call, know that I did that by purchasing some real estate and having some passive income. And it was just enough that I could retire, have that passive income base. And so now I'm, my next birthday, I'm going to turn 70, and I can't wait to see what's in store now. I'm halfway into that 20-year segment. And so I'm kind of narrowing things down for the first time. Back in January, I streamlined all of my podcast into this one podcast, and I had to pick something that was near and dear to my heart. And so midlife women is because that's where I am. I like to think I'm midlife. Everybody goes, yeah, but you're almost 70. Midlife is like 40 these days. I'm like, yeah, well, 70 is the new 40. So, it's all good. And so I truly believe that health comes before wealth, and I'm working really hard on my health. We were just talking about, isn't it a novel idea that we can get body scans and heart scans and all that kind of thing before we get sick, instead of finding out afterwards what we have to change. And one of the things that I want to talk about today is, our topic is money without panic. And I don't know about you, but that when I go back and think about that first 20, it was always money with panic, because I can remember my very first job. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. I can remember that. And minimum wage and my very first apartment. Do we all remember our first apartment? Yeah.
oh yeah. Ramen noodles, and they were 25 cents at Big Lots. How many, did anyone remember that? Big Lots before it
Oh,
became
yeah.
Odd Lots, or was it Odd Lots and then it became Big Lots?
I think it was Odd Lots originally.
Yeah,
So
they came
anyway,
out.
yeah, I remember those days too. And so chronic financial stress definitely impacts your health. And the irony is that a lot of times in those first 20 years, that I'm talking about, we have youth on our side. So we can kind of just plow through some of that stress because we have youth on our side. I don't know about you, but I don't handle the stress as well the older I get. Maybe I don't know if I don't handle it as well, or if I just know what it feels like and I just know to avoid it more. I don't know which it is. But anyway, if I start feeling stressed, and I know your body kind of catches that stress, and so I kind of know, I'll call it the signals when I'm starting to get stressed. And Mark even says to me that I seem to be able to, as he calls it, look over the edge and back up. When I start to get a little too close to the edge, I have a way to realize that, and I make those choices on my own. I don't have to have someone tell me that I'm, getting out there close to the edge. So chronic financial stress impacts your health, and I think we need to be aware of that so that we can have some of that self-care. And for those of you on this call, you know who Jessie is. I just was talking to Jessie not too long ago, and she said, and she's younger than me. I don't know how old Jessie is, maybe in her 40s. Anyway, she said she's afraid to take her foot off the gas. Do you remember those days when and maybe some of us are still there. Is anybody still there, afraid to lighten your workload? Tammy's like, no.
Yeah, I am a little bit. I have to say, I still am. I'm so used to hustling. Yes, I retire? Probably, but do I want to? Not so much. I go
I
back and
get it.
forth. I go back and forth. I think it
So
keeps you young. I think it keeps you young to keep the hustle and to keep moving.
I think it does too. But for me, I want to reframe that hustle. I want to make it something that I want to do and not something that I have to do. And I
Yeah.
think that's the difference for me. I love it when I have a deadline. I often say there's nothing like a good, healthy deadline. I love it when I have a deadline because it does kind of force me, to get across the finish line on whatever the project is. I
Hmm.
really enjoy the real estate. And the reason that I enjoy that as passive income is because I don't have a move out or a move in every single day. I might have maybe, I don't know, it seems like though it comes in groups of threes. I have 3 move outs this month and 3 move ins this month. But you know what? It doesn't really stress me. As a matter of fact, like you, Andora, I'm feeling a little energized. I've rented everything immediately. I haven't got all the leases signed yet. I just sent one out right before I got on the call. I sent one over to get signed. But anyway, I'm doing everything electronically these days. One of my goals was I wanted to be able to run my business from anywhere in the world. And so I have just been working kind of on a side project. I've been working on automating everything, getting everything done electronically so that I'm not doing any paper anything. How many of us are you still afraid to get rid of the paper, Andora? Do you still have a paper folder for each tenant with the lease in it and all of that? Or are you doing it all electronic?
Okay, confession is I don't know what it is, but yes, I have it digital, and then I also have a copy and a folder of my lease. And I know I need to not do that,
No, I'm
but
still doing it too. I can't let go of that. But
yeah,
I'm doing everything electronically, and then I just print it
yes.
all off and put it in a folder
Well,
because
just
that's my
something about
security
that. It
blanket.
just something about at my fingertips because at the end of the day, we never know if electronics are going to go out, right? We don't
Yeah,
know what craziness is going to happen in the future, and I guess if that craziness happens, are we really going to need to go to that hard copy lease? I don't know, but it's better to have it than to need to have it and not have it.
I
Just
get it, and I'm right there. Tammy, how about you? Do you have a paper copy of your stuff or no?
I do not,
You do not.
Tammy.
You're all electronic.
except for one tenant who didn't wouldn't use electronic stuff. I had paper just for him.
Okay, okay. Sue, how about you?
I have both.
Okay, all right. Maybe it's our generation. I don't know. I'm trying to get to where I can, because if you go to the bank, they don't go back to a file cabinet and pull out your account numbers. Everything is on the computer, and if the computer's down, they just say, "I'm sorry, the computer's down. I can't help you today." And so, yeah, I don't know. I haven't taken that last little step. I still have to have, like Andora says, I got to have that paper copy at my fingertips. I don't know if we have any other real estate investors or if there's anyone else that's in any kind of a business where you do have to keep your records, but I'm getting more and more electronic. So that seems to lighten the load for me on the stress because no matter where I am, for those of you that know me, know that it's been maybe 4 years ago now, I bought a condo down in Sarasota, and my goal was to start traveling back and forth. And that would force me to run my business from anywhere in the world because that was the goal. And so now I'm at the place now where I do have everything uploaded into different platforms, depending on what it is. And so now when I am in Florida, whenever I do have a question, I can actually open up and look at the lease. I can do all of that electronically. So it is making it a lot less stressful for me, and so I'm kind of like Andora. Energized by that. So anyway, Andora, let's talk a little bit about the financial stress. Is there a time in your life, and we'll share this because sometimes when I journal, I journal some memories come back of just growing up and legacy. There are cycles that I grew up with that I wanted to change. I didn't want to stay in the same cycle, and because oftentimes it's not what's taught, it's what's caught from our parents. And so, Andora, talk about your upbringing, was there any financial, money with panic? Was that caught somehow in your upbringing? Did you kind of just, as a
Yeah.
young adult, have that feeling? What changed for you?
Well, I think with my mother was a very good with money and very well organized, and so I was instilled upon me not to use credit cards. That you don't go and buy things unless you can afford them. And I remember getting my first McDonald's paycheck, and I went out and bought the boom box. Everybody remember the big boom box?
Oh
And I
yeah.
went, went and bought one at Lancaster Sales, and I was like, oh wow, So my whole paycheck came home, and look at my boom box. And she said, that's really nice. How are you going to pay for your gas going to from Somerset to Lancaster? And I'm like, I hadn't thought about that. She said, you need to march that back in and take that back, because you working is not going to cost me money, So she would always instill that about paying your bills first and going without until you could afford it. So that's kind of always been instilled upon me. But I've always, lived pretty. I mean, there's some things I'll splurge on. There's things I like that I'll really splurge on. My husband, Tom, he's more of a splurger than I am. So I think he and I grew up very differently about money. And I'm always like, I'm like, let's go to Value City and get some furniture. And he's like, there's nothing wrong with Value City. I love it. But he's like, why can't we get something a little bit, more sturdy, better made? But so I think that's instilled upon me, and like little things like, it just drives me nuts to have like lights left on. Like, I think that's wasteful, or even like with water or just anything. I don't like to be wasteful, even with my stupid paper towels. Like, really? I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, I'm like, do I really need to use this towel? Because like, I think like I can I'll clean off the countertop with this little paper towel, and I'll put it aside, because I guarantee you that dog is going to go someplace and pee somewhere, and I'll need to. It's crazy. I mean, I'll think, okay, I'm going to dual use it. But I know that's not what you're asking. But yes, I like to, and I love
No, I
coupon.
get it. No, this is all how we were brought up, and it's in there. It's inherently in there. And again, like I said, it's what's caught, not necessarily what's taught. And
Yep.
it was the same way. My parents were older by the time I was born. They were actually old enough to be my grandparents, even though they were biologically my parents.
Sure.
And so my mother actually, both my mom and dad came through the Great Depression. And oh my gosh, when my mom passed away and we cleaned out the house, she had saved all of these like to-go containers.
I still save those. I love those.
I mean, we're talking, it was just her. My dad had been gone for 30 years. It was just her, and she must have had 200 of them. And we laughed. We said, was she expecting like a really big Christmas party? And she was going to have all these leftovers she needed to package up for people. We could see maybe saving a couple, but she had saved like boxes full. So we just kind of chuckle about that. So we all have some of those things that, we just kind of grew up with. And so anyway, with the way we were taught and the way we were raised, I have to actually make conscious decisions that I am going to change that. I'm going to change that story. I'm going to change that legacy. Mindy, you had your hand. Do you want to share? Unmute.
I found out about paper towels about 5 years ago. I'm just joking. But the containers, my mother probably still has 200 containers. And I take her containers all the time, and she always tells me she's out of them. She's the only one living there.
Now, how many people really, like at home with their paper towels, just use a paper towel to dry their hands off? See, I don't. I just feel like that's a waste of a paper towel. Now, if I'm out, obviously someplace where they have the paper towel, but at home, I'm just like, sometimes I'll catch myself just putting on my pants. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, this will clean off the dust off my pants, and so I'm going to do that. I don't know. Like, I just can't see. But my husband, he has no problem. He'll like use 3 or 4. I'm like, oh my goodness, like you're using 3 or 4 paper towels to dry your hands. Are you kidding me? No. You're just being cheap.
We tear ours in half and share them.
See, I'm just saying, yeah, exactly. Like some people are wasteful, and I think that's very wasteful. but that's just me. And there's going to be
Well,
people.
no, go ahead.
I was just going to say, there's going to be people in here be like, gosh, she's really cheap. But then other things like where I want to spend money, like I'll splurge on certain things, but it's like, I think it's what you're getting to. It's what is most important to you. What are we willing to spend our money on, and maybe be frugal in other areas. So for me, I love, love, love getting my hair done I think it's like 10 weeks or something, because honey, it's not naturally blonde like this, and it takes a lot. So.
Well, you look amazing. Every time I see you, you look amazing. So
Thank you.
Good job.
Well, like I said, that's like my one little splurge. I don't get my nails done. I don't do the other things. But I love that.
Good. Well, that's the next thing I want to talk about is with any kind of income. Doesn't necessarily have to be just your passive income, but any kind of income. I laugh all the time. I'll kind of claim that I'm broke, like I don't have the money for that. Oh, I don't want to buy that. Oh, that's too expensive. And then I'll go out and put a down payment on like another piece of real estate. And then Mark will say, I thought you were broke. And I'm like, well, not for real estate.
Not for real estate. Yeah. Like there's always money for that. Yeah.
So I won't spend $10, but I'll spend $20,000, for a down payment on another piece of real estate. So, because the real estate is going to generate more income.
Yes.
And so I think for me, I have convinced myself that if it is going to be a passive income source, then I'm willing to spend the money on it. And so if it's not going to be a passive income source, then I feel like I don't want to spend the money on it. However, I have in the past 24 months, I have made the decision that if it's going to be health related, that I'm going to be willing to spend my money on it. And so those are the things that I am spending money on. And Andora, we talked about this a couple of months ago where we were using the red light mask. Well, yes. I have a membership at Planet Fitness, and they actually have a red light capsule where you can actually stand inside and get the red light treatment. And if you've ever researched it, the red light is amazing, all of the benefits that it does. So I went to, and for those of you again that know me, I just came back from my biohacking conference, and this one was called Beyond Biohacking. And I met a company there, and I just got it today. It just got delivered today. I bought a whole body vibration platform. Have you heard about those?
I love those. Love, love, love. And I want to know which one you bought, because I think that's supposed to be so good for you.
Yes. As a matter of fact, I got a list here, and then my phone went off because I had it on my phone. There it is. Mine is through Lymphora. And, okay. And so this is my user manual, and it says Lymphora up here in the corner. It's called Lymphora. And this one is an astronaut grade. They actually put the astronauts on this one when they come back from space to get their balance back. They have to go through a series of treatments with this particular vibration platform to get their balance back. So anyway, so as you get older, if you're struggling with balance, it does all kinds of things. Let me go through the list. They don't have an affiliate link that I'm aware of. So even though we're going to put it in our favorite things, there's not an affiliate link. We don't make any money on it, but feel free to order one if you want. I'll put it on our favorite things. Okay. It improves blood circulation. It supports lymphatic drainage. It's a natural detox pathway. It activates muscles quickly and efficiently. It helps build strength when paired with movement. It improves balance and stability. It supports bone density. And this was one of the reasons that I wanted it, because when I did my full body scan, the doctor said that my bones were weak in my left hip. Now, there's always cause and effect. I don't know if this has anything to do with it. I carry my cell phone in my left pocket all the time. And that's the hip. I don't know if there's any cause and effect there, having my phone, because Mark carries his in his pocket, although I don't know that he got a bone density test. But anyway, my bone density test said my left hip is weak. And so this supports bone density. It reduces muscle soreness and stiffness. It aids in workout recovery. It increases flexibility and range of motion. It helps reduce swelling in legs and feet. It boosts energy and alertness. It supports metabolism and calorie burn. It may improve appearance of cellulite, and it enhances core engagement, supports joint mobility, helps with coordination and body awareness, reduces stress, promotes relaxation. It's low impact movement option. It's time efficient because you only need to be on it for like 10 minutes. And it's great for beginners or those easing back into fitness. So I now have one. It just came today. So I've already been on it for 10 minutes today. So anyway, so that's my big thing. Now, Andora, do you have
Yeah, I have a tip. Yes, I do. I'm going to show you guys.
You do? Okay.
Oh, sorry. It's underneath my desk. So
Okay.
it's like a sale at Sam's Club. It's called a balance board. Normally
Yeah.
there's like 50. And if I'm standing up at my desk, I'll use this balance board. And it's great because it like you're kind of like trying to keep your balance on it.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's one thing I like to use. Plus, remember back in the day when we get those little trampolines, the little
Yes.
trampolines that you can jump. Same thing with the same concept as the
It has the same benefits as this vibration platform. The trampoline has the exact same benefits.
Yep. And it's cheap. It can be somewhat cheaper. Plus, I'm not into running, but if you're like looking to low impact, like run in place, like maybe you want to put on your cell phone for like 30 seconds. I'm going to run in place. Or I'm going to move it up to a minute. They actually have routines that you can do on this trampoline. You can find them off of Facebook Marketplace. Get you a little mini trampoline and just jump in place or whatever. If you want the one that has the bar, you can do that. Or you can put, if you like don't want to spend the more expensive model, just put you a chair up right against your trampoline and just hold on to that. But it's really good for like running in place and jumping in place because it gives you all the same guidelines. And I just looked it up on my handy dandy chat GPT. And the importance of this is low impact cardio, easy on joints, because you're doing this. It's good for your knees and your hips and your ankles. Because as we get older, our ankles sometimes lose strength. And then to your point, it's good for our lymphatic system boost, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's detoxing and it's helping our immune system. Also helps us with our core, also helps with balance and coordination. And then how can you not have your mood lifted when you're jumping around? It says mood and energy lift. Okay. So, and then it just talks about how it helps with prevention of ankles and knees, better posture and alignment. So just kind of the list goes on according to Chat GPT. But I've always liked my little mini trampoline. I think it's just a good thing to do. And I found another exercise I'm going to start doing. And this one, they say that if you're over 55 or 60 and you can sit against a wall, you know how you do the squat? And they say if you can hold that position for 90 seconds, that's also supposed to help your bones and your body. And it will also help your knees. Because as I'm aging, I can tell when I walk down steps that my knees aren't as strong, and it will help build your knee strength. So again, flat against the wall, like you're sitting on a chair, and then you're going to literally go to your cell phone, put 90 seconds in. And if you can't do 90 seconds, start off with 30 seconds, then go for a minute, then go for 90. And I'll tell you what, it's quite a little workout. And you wouldn't think
I agree.
For 90 seconds.
Yes. Yeah. Anything that we can do to keep all the working parts working. Yes, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I was very excited to get this. Andora gave me her old trampoline, the small one, when she got her new one. Mindy says, just jump on the bed.
It is. I'll tell you, it's just nice. Yeah. Jump on the bed. Who said that? Mindy? Of course Mindy did.
Just jump on the bed.
Yeah. Of course Mindy did it. That is true, Mindy. You probably could do that. I'd probably break my bed though.
Anyway, let's talk about real estate for a minute. So as I look at my portfolio, and again, I've built the passive income, and I'm a firm believer we all need to have passive income. Now that comes to us in a lot of different ways. Maybe you're at retirement age and you did some investing early on in the stock market or in 401ks or however you invested, And so you do have some of that passive income coming in. Mark was a teacher for 30 years. He gets a teacher's retirement. He'll get that no matter, if he gets up in the morning or decides to stay in bed all day. His retirement comes in every month, and he doesn't have to really do anything at this point for it. Now, he says all the time that was kind of an accident that he taught for 30 years, because he said he never started off wanting to be a teacher. And he did it just as a way to earn some income right out of college. And he ended up being, and he just happened to, whenever he did change jobs, he stayed in the same system, the same state system. And he ended up with quite a decent, retirement income. And so for many of us, we made those kind of choices. However, I did not. So I'm thinking, oh, I'm never going to get to retire. So the passive income for me was in the real estate. So now when we talk about money without panic, I think we have to start making plans and being very strategic in how we look at our passive income. So for me, and again, when Mark and I sit down to have any kind of a conversation about where we're headed for the next 10 years, we talk about cash flow. It's different at different ages. I think when you're in your 30s and 40s and you're starting to invest, it's all about building that investment. But by the time you get close to 60 and beyond, then it becomes cash flow, because at some point there between 60 and 70, you're probably going to stop generating the kind of income that you had been generating. And so then it becomes the cash flow. What are you going to live on? And I don't know about you, but I kind of like to travel and have nice things and be able to, just buy this vibration platform and not have to count my pennies to see if I can afford to do it. And so for me, I actually look at not only what I can add as income, like buying another piece of real estate because it's going to cash flow, but I also kind of look at the big picture. And so what I did the other day is I have this entire spreadsheet of my real estate. And I thought, okay, if I want to add another $1,000 to my monthly income, what is the easiest way to do that? Well, for some of you that are buying real estate, you have to have a mortgage. You don't have, cash in the bank to pay cash for these properties. So you have a mortgage, and you can organize that to where it cash flows to some degree. I've heard some folks say, well, if you at least have $200 a month cash flow, it's good. Some say, no, my minimum is 500. So it's whatever that is for you. But at some point, you might get into a piece of real estate and you're using maybe a 5-year renewable interest rate where, the first 5 years you're clocking along and things are going great and you're cash flowing. And then all of a sudden, interest changes and you get a little letter in the mail that says your next payment is going from 5% to 7%. And then you're like, ouch, there went some of my cash flow. And so I started looking back to the Dave Ramsey theory where, start with your highest interest rate and get some of that paid off. So when I look at some of the cash I have in the bank, if I'm in a money market account and I'm making, I don't know, Huntington, are you ready for this? Huntington has a 4% money market account right now, which is one of the higher ones, actually. Now, I haven't rolled anything over. I'm still at Vinton County Bank, and they're at 3.68, I think, for money market. But anyway, Huntington just announced that they're up to 4% for their money market. But now I've got some cash sitting in a money market at 3.68 to 4%. And now I've got a loan over here, maybe at 7% or 7.5%, or maybe even higher. Some of us may even have, an 8% if we've purchased something recently after it went up. And so now the question is this: is it better for me to buy another piece of property at 7% and hopefully I get a property that, depending on what the market will bring in rents, that I can cash flow that immediately? Or would it be better for me to take that down payment money that I was planning on buying that property with and paying off one of those 7% or 7.5% mortgages? It comes out the same cash flow for me. So which is better, to buy more or to pay off one? Well, that depends on where you are, I believe, in your age category, because I think if you're younger, and you're building your portfolio, it's probably better to buy more property. But if you're past that 60 and you're wanting to slow down and it's all about cash flow, maybe for you, it's better to pay off one of those mortgages and dump an extra $1,000 a month into your budget, because you no longer have that mortgage payment to make, or whatever that payment was. Maybe it's 800, 900, whatever the payment was. If you pay that off, now that money is free and clear. You don't have to pay that mortgage every month. So that gives you more cash flow. So let's talk about that. Andora, I know you're still working, but you have properties. I know you've bought one recently. My most recent purchase has been just a little over a year ago. It was a year ago in March that I bought my last property. I haven't bought one for the last, and of course it is kind of addictive. So, you know, I'm always looking. I'm always looking. But anyway, I know that you've still purchased some not too long ago. What is your thinking with where you are, and how are you making money without panic?
So if I think I only have like 2 mortgages. One is on my primary residence, and I think the interest rate's like 2.3. Not touching it.
Yeah.
And I think
I want to pay that one off. That's free money.
Not paying that one off. It's under 100. Not doing it. I'm going to keep that one. And then I do have another one at like 7 for like the duplex. And again, it's below 100,000. But I'm thinking, you know, for tax write-off and things of that nature, I'm going to keep it as is, because cash is king. And I think it's always good. We don't know what's happening in this turbulent environment. So I'll probably I always think cash is king. It's always good to have a nice cushion of money, you know. So that's my thought, is I don't want to pay anything off at this point in time, even if I have the higher interest rates. And I'm still kind of wanting a beach condo or another condo someplace warm. So for this gal at this point in time, I'm keeping my money.
I get it. Now, for those of you that are listening, if you're interested in beach property, right now it is probably the lowest it has been in years in all of the Florida coastal areas.
But your insurance high.
Your insurance is higher, but if you go inland, just a hint, the insurance isn't bad, and the market is probably it's probably a buyer's market right now. And now keep in mind, the reason that it is because we've had those series of hurricanes over the last 3 years that have hit some of those coastal areas and have caused some damage, which is why the insurance has gone up. And it's why there's a lot of vacant properties and people that are like, you know, we're not going through this again. But if you're very strategic about where you buy and how you buy, because what happened is that market has affected the entire state. And if you go just a little bit inland, you're pretty well protected from the hurricanes. You might get a lot of rain, but you're protected from the high winds and the hurricanes. And we're probably 15 minutes inland, and Sarasota was kind of ground zero at one of the hurricanes, and we had no damage at all where we are. I think one tree along the edge of our complex had some damage. But anyway, the point is that properties are at a great price right now if you're interested in having something along, you know, close to the beach, not on the beach, but close to the beach. So that's my theory. So Andora, I get it that you're just gonna keep your mortgages for now, but you're still working, and so you still have the cash flow coming in from the paycheck, in addition to what's coming in from your rentals. Now, Tammy, you and David, you're totally retired now, just doing the passive income. I mean, neither of you are punching a time clock. Am I right?
No, we're not. But we retired off of our investments, our traditional investments. And we started buying rental properties after we invested, just to make sure our investments last.
Okay. So it was a way to kind of shore up the traditional investments by having real estate, because everybody has to have a place to live. I just listened to a state of the city of Canal Winchester, where I am today, and they're anticipating 10,000 families moving into the Canal Winchester area in the next 24 months.
Wow.
And yes, so they've got 9,000 housing units already on the drawing board. Some of them haven't broken ground yet, but they've got 9,000 units, and they said they're still going to be short.
Why is that? What's taking the uptick for that?
Columbus is growing leaps and bounds. I'm not, I think it's a little bit of everything, but as these communities grow, it brings in, for those of you that are in the Columbus area, you've seen all of these surrounding cities add hospitals, and all of they require staffing. So now the employees want to live closer to where they're working, and they need housing. And so I don't know that it's any one thing, but Columbus, we're at a crossroads in the Midwest. It's a perfect for business. We get a lot of business that wants to be in the Columbus area, and we're a great market for a lot of different companies. And when they build the company, they build the factories, they build the warehouses, they build whatever they're building, then that brings the employees, and the employees all need a place to live. And then that brings in all the smaller services, the beauty salons, the barber shops, and everything just grows and grows and grows. And so we're anticipating, again, in our area to have 10,000 more people in the next 24 months. And so that's why they're widening roads and rebuilding bridges. And
Wow.
So it all kind of works together, and that's happening everywhere, around the larger cities. And so I don't think you can go wrong with real estate, because again, everybody has to have a place to live. So that's my take on that. Sue, how about you? Now, because you or your husband, you're not punching a time clock these days. Are you living totally on investments and retirements?
Well, yes, mostly, yeah. So we both retired from OSU, so we have PERS. So we're both retired from there, and we live on that. And then we also have the rentals, and that's passive income. So I'm investing that.
Okay. And see, that's where Mark is he has the state teacher retirement. Yeah. So that he always has that to fall back on. I did not make those decisions in my 20s and 30s to be a teacher. So, so I had to pedal fast at age 40 to figure something out. So that's why my route was a little different from yours because of that. So anyway, I wanted to change the story from my mom of the Depression and hoarding everything. And so, and I know Mindy just recently decided to clean house and donate a bunch of stuff. And so that's where I am now. I'm trying to downsize and start to put margins not only in my space, but in my calendar, and just have a lot more margins to do the fun stuff that I used to love to do that I kind of got away from because, you just get too busy. And again, I don't like to be that busy. And so I'm kind of changing that story. I'm trying to rewrite that story, which actually changes and kind of breaks that cycle in the legacy too, of having to, keep your nose to the grindstone, as my mother used to say, and do some fun stuff. Again, my whole identity now is Freestyle Living. And I've had some folks, when I go out to some of the networking, they go, "You're one of the few people that actually, walk the talk." They go, "You talk about Freestyle Living, and then we see that, you're in Paris, or you're in London, or you're at your condo in Sarasota." And they said, you're out hiking or biking, and or ballroom dancing or whatever it is you're doing. They said, "You're one of the few people that are walking the talk, and you're actually living the lifestyle that you talk about." So what is a goal that each of you might have that you would like to maybe reach in the next 24 months? Anything in particular that helps you feel more comfortable in your money situation, or adding more margins in your calendar to do the stuff you want to do? And what is that one thing that's on the bucket list? Andora, how about you? What's on your bucket list?
I think right now I have a kind of a geriatric dog, so I can't travel too much outside the United States. But Probably, traveling, going to, outside the country again. I used to go to Aruba and Mexico. I haven't been to Europe, so I need to go to Europe. Everybody tells me how fabulous it is. So
It's
probably
fabulous.
that I'll be doing more traveling. And, also, I'm still kind of contemplating, even like maybe like building like a cabin in Athens, like on a little farm area. But Tom's more interested in, I mean, just kind of a more laid back lifestyle, I guess, to some extent, enjoying time more, reading books, and probably like living like the life that you live and Tammy lives, you know?
Yeah, I had a really wonderful day today. I spent it with hanging out with friends and listening to the state of the city information and you know did my contracts electronically and then I came home and Mark actually was making dinner. So yeah, life is pretty good.
Yes, that is a good thing.
Yeah, Tammy, how about you? You have a bucket list? What's on your bucket list?
I don't. I have the opposite problem because, like you, now that I'm retired, I I've been turning down things that don't bring me joy anymore. So all the volunteer opportunities that just became chores. So
Yep.
now I've found I've got a ton of time. I'm looking for ways to use it more intentionally instead of just feeling like I've got too much time on my hands.
Okay. Now, was there anything that you loved to do back in the day that you got away from that you think you might want to revisit?
I've been trying all those things with all my free time. So I like to travel and I've been trying a bunch of
Okay.
different crafts and exercise classes and
Okay. I get it. I was singing way back in the day, and of course, I always loved the cycling because I did the big tosser ride to the Ohio River and back 8 years in a row, and then I got into ballroom dancing with my first husband. We actually won the amateur division of the Star Ball one year when I was like in my 20s. And then, of course, life gets in the way. And like I like to say, I was working like, with my hair on fire. And so now I'm revisiting a lot of those things. So I get it, Tammy. So I get what you're doing. You're kind of revisiting to see what it is. Now,
and my big goal last year was to move to Texas to be closer to my kids. And I've already done that. So I'm kind of, I don't know, looking for what my next goal is.
I love that. Now, how many people would be that brave? She uprooted and just moved to an entirely different state to be close to the kids. Now, I suppose the fact that the kids are there make it a little easier, but I think that was a big, scary step, and you did it.
It was. We bought the house sight unseen, moved here, and the only people we know in Texas are our kids, and they live 2 hours away.
But you're only 2 hours away from them now instead of several states. I get that. Yeah. Sue, how about you? What's on your bucket list?
I'm trying to de-stress.
Okay.
And I would like to develop my relationship back with my husband, what it used to be before I was crazy doing Zoom calls every night and buying more real estate and that type of thing. So that would be my goal.
Okay. So what are some things that you have on the list?
Well, he's always available. So when he's bored, he goes golfing because I'm not available. He
Okay.
likes movies. We like going out to dinner, having parties with friends, that type of thing. So nothing
Okay.
elaborate or anything. He likes to travel a lot more than I do, but doing more traveling.
All right. I'm hearing the travel theme in there. All right. We've got Mindy, Sierra, and Jennifer. Any bucket list things for you guys?
I'm not old enough to have a bucket list yet,
Yes, you are.
but I'm
I had a
thinking
bucket
about it.
I had a bucket list when I was 50 that I was saving for retirement.
But I'm not there yet.
So what is it that you kind of like that you haven't done yet? Mine was going to Europe because I always wanted to go to Europe, and now I've been to Europe like 4 times. So that was a really big deal for me.
I don't know. Back in the day, I kind of lived in podunk town. So my thing was just to fly, to get on an airplane, because I thought, oh, that'll be cool. But then I
Okay.
got on and flying, and it was like riding in the old school bus with the high back seats. So it really wasn't that thrilling.
You know, Mark has a small airplane. We can hook you right up.
Yeah, I've been in a big plane many times. I'm good. I don't like those little puddle jumpers. No
I
puddle
say you.
jumpers for
I
me.
think you should book her up. I think you should get the itinerary out. I can see Mindy in the back and Carl and you
Yeah.
and
Me and Beth
Kathy in
and
front.
telling Mark how to drive the plane. Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
would do.
He'll throw you
Here, let
out
me
like
do
a
that.
parachute. He'll throw you out in a parachute. He'll be like, sorry.
You're, hey, you're
He'll be
going,
like,
Mark, you're going too slow. Let me do this.
yeah.
Oh, I
Mark
love
will
it.
be like,
I love it.
bye. Bye.
Yeah,
Oh,
could
I
we
love
get
it.
do we get a speeding ticket up there?
Nope. No speeding tickets.
Oh, well, there's my next trip.
I
Turn in
love
the
it.
driver's license for a pilot license, and I don't have to worry
There you
about the
go.
speed limit. No
You
cruise.
know,
I don't even have to set cruise control.
if we were in Alaska, we'd all be pilots because that's how they get around. Yeah. Sierra, I see you there. How are you?
No. I'm good. How are you?
Sierra, do you have a bucket list? Where are you in your journey?
I'm a private chef, so I want to be like a traveling private chef. So I would say I'm in the same boat of traveling, and
Okay.
I have a 3-year-old, so it's a little challenging now, but I feel like it's doable. Just hearing you ladies, it's very doable.
Very good. Very good. Now, are you building a retirement?
I haven't even thought of that yet, but yeah. I have invested in like 401k when I was like
Okay.
18 and I started out with my first job. Actually, it was at 16 and I had invested in 401k and then of course I used it. But yeah, I'm pretty familiar with it and I remember last session I'm investing in like real estate. I'm starting out with Fundrise. So
Yes.
yeah.
I have a Fundrise account. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm kind of just starting out on things.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect. I love it.
I'm
I
about to
love
be
that.
30, so I'm like, life's really hitting me now.
Yep. She's just getting started, ladies. What would
30
your
years old. Love
yeah,
to be
what would
30 again.
what would be your advice, Andora? What's your advice for Sierra at age 30? What would you tell
Um,
your 30-year-old self?
Life is about the experiences you create. It's not so much about the material things, but it's about creating experiences for yourself. You'll never regret that trip that you take. You'll never regret that experience that you have. Material things come and go, they break. It's all about the experiences that you create each and every day.
Yes. My advice to my 30-year-old self is I would say take more risk. I was somewhat risk adverse at age 30. I just always wanted to play it safe because again, I had that panic over money and I was like, oh, I can't take off because I don't want to lose the job. I need to work. And so I would probably tell myself to take more risk, my 30-year-old self. Tammy, what would you tell your 30-year-old self?
I would have started investing in real estate earlier so that I could be further along in this journey and not have mortgages on every property and be sweating every time I have a vacancy.
Now, I had 3 this month, but I have all 3 rented already.
I have had 2 since last month. So
And
one
they're still
did get filled just last week, but I still have a
Okay.
vacancy in Lancaster right now.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I filled mine like within 6 days of putting them out there on the market.
That's good. That's great.
Yeah. Sue, what would you tell your 30-year-old self?
I'm going to tell you guys that I'm going to get off of here because it's storming like crazy here. But,
So that's what she's telling herself today. Get the heck out of Dodge.
Yeah, really. I would definitely invest in real estate more sooner than I could have.
Okay.
Although I did start pretty early, and I would, whoever said adventures and stuff like that, I went right from nursing school that summer I was a camp nurse at Camp Wigwam in Harrison, Maine. So that was an adventure. So I don't know, that was better for me at the time, at least, than going right to a job.
Okay.
So it was a job, but I got to have that experience. So I would encourage people to do the experiences.
Yep. Okay, we have the same kind of theme coming at you, Sierra. Mindy, how about you? What would you say? Mindy might be doing double duty there. Mindy, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm thinking,
There you
what
are.
would I have done when I was 30?
Yeah, what would you tell your 30-year-old self different?
Well, I still lived in Muskingum County then. I would have probably moved towards the area that I'm in now for a better job, especially with raising 4 kids by myself at that age.
Okay, so you would have relocated.
I could have rented them out. I didn't think about that. I could have rented them out back in the day, and that could have been a new job. I wouldn't have had to punch a time clock.
Okay, but you would have relocated
Probably,
to get better opportunities.
oh yeah, at 30 instead of, I don't know, 35. I think I was like 34 when I moved to Canal Winchester.
Okay.
So
I get
I've been
that.
up for 5 years.
Yeah, I was pretty aggressive. Even though I grew up, out in the country, I drove into Columbus for work in my 20s. I mean, I did that immediately for better. And even then it was a struggle back then. But I appreciate
The
that.
big town for me was Zanesville. So I went from Roseville to Zanesville, which is 20 minutes down the road. Yeah. I would have probably moved more opportunity for work, better pay, retirement, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Good advice. Yeah, Sierra says thank you all. She definitely needed this. She said she's been asking everyone for advice since she's hitting 30. So this was great. Yeah. Anyway, money without panic.
She's younger. She's the same age as most of our kids.
I know. So when we talk about money without panic, we have to get some margins in your budget, get some margins in your schedule, get some margins in your life so that you can give up some of those things that are good for things that are better. And that seemingly is the theme, is that when we talk to our 30-year-old self, things were good, but we're saying, here's what we would have done that would have maybe made it a little bit better. So create some margins in all of that, make things better, put your health at the top of the list, definitely get the passive income coming in, because trust me, 60 is going to come faster than you know.
Unfortunately.
Yes. And rewrite some of those stories that you caught instead of were taught, things that you just thought it had to be this way because, your parents did it that way. Rewrite some of that and create your own new legacy for your children, for yourself and your children, and create a whole new legacy. Any last aha comments before we go?
I would say take time for yourself, even if you have kids, because I did not do that. And then I've been spending the last 10 years trying to rediscover who I am after the kids are gone. So take time for yourself.
That's an interesting point.
Very true.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Well, Andora has inspired me because, again, I'm always looking for real estate. So, yeah, I'm going to keep looking. Yeah, if there's a deal I can't.
Yeah, keep going.
Do what, Andora? Say it again.
I said, yeah, I think you love the real estate and you're able to maintain it and you have good contacts at this point, So I say, why not?
Yeah, if a deal comes along, I probably won't turn it down. Anyone else? Any last aha moments before we go?
I don't think so.
I love it. Thank you all for being with us tonight. And next month, we are going to talk about the body as data. We're going to start off with health, listening to the body instead of overriding it. And then we're going to talk about in passive income why the best deal is the one that fits your life, not someone else's spreadsheet. I know all these real estate gurus out there, you think, well, maybe I should do it this way, maybe I should do it that way. And the best deal is the one that fits your life, not what fits their spreadsheet. And then under legacy next month, we're going to talk about modeling self-trust. And I think a lot of times that's where we kind of fall short because, again, we compare ourselves to everybody else and we think, oh, I should be further ahead. I should be doing this. I should be doing that. And I think we're right where life wants us to be. And so let's work.
Too.
Yeah. So start working on getting those margins in your life and doing the fun stuff. I love that Tammy's exploring all those things. So that inspires me as well. All right, ladies, thank you for being on tonight. And we will see everyone next month. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Tammy, your flowers are pretty at your house. I'm going to send you some new pictures.
Thank you. Bye.
That's probably a good tenant if they're doing flowers, you know.
Oh, it looks, the yard looks nice. And all the flowers that were laying out there, the last pictures I sent you, they got them all planted. They're all blooming,
Nice.
all pretty. Yep.
Great.
I'm going to
check on it.
I'm going to have to walk over and take a look.
Yep.
Yep,
It looks nice.
Yep, she's probably got a good person there.
And there's no couch on the porch.
That's perfect.
All right, I'm going to turn off
Thank
the
you.
recording. You can hang in there for a minute if you want.